This is Conversations with Ronnie Keith. Thank you again for joining Conversations with Ronnie Keith. I am your host, Ronnie Keith. And of course, with me on this episode is my wife, Edie.
I like Iris.
Edie, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Hola, mi gente. How are you guys?
Well, they can't tell you how they're doing, but you could ask me.
How are you doing, sir?
Oh, you thought about me.
I did. I thought about you.
Wow, I'm doing okay. So, thank you guys so much for the support. We really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting, liking. We share on social media. Please don't only just listen on social media. When you see the little excerpt, go to any of your streaming platforms, which may be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, even YouTube, iHeartRadio.
I think I heard Amazon also has,
Music.
right?
Yep,
Amazon Music.
It's a lot. Deezer, all these places. Please go check us out, download us, listen, subscribe so you can get all the new
platform
episodes. Absolutely. So we're going to do things a little different this time, and I know that we had spoke about this last time, but we really encourage you guys to please hit that link when you go to the podcast, when you go to listen, or when it's time to, a new episode. You're going to open up the podcast and you're going to see the episode there. This will be episode 17. And just click on where you see send a text to Ronnie Keith. Click on that area because that's the podcast notes. And there's a link right there that says send a text to Ronnie Keith. Click that. That will take you to, it'll look like it's going to take you to the internet, but it's actually going to take you to text messaging. And that text message will send you, you'll type in there, send us a text message. We don't know who you are unless you tell us. All we know is the city and state. We don't know who you are. So go ahead and just send that to us and ask us any questions, anything that you want to know about us. As you know, we do this every other episode. So please send in the questions for me and Iris.
Thank you. And remember, download, listen, and share. That's the most important part of it.
Absolutely. So with this episode today, like I said, it's going to be a little different here. This is going to be a Ask Us Anything because we did.
Oh, I love it.
Get some
I'm so excited.
Questions. We got a lot of questions, and I'm not sure if we're going to get to all of them. So, if we're not able to, we'll go next time that we record for episode 19, I think it'll be. No, we're doing what? Episode 17. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
we're
19.
17 already?
Yes. So if we don't get through episode
Hallelujah.
17, we'll go to 19 with the rest of the questions. And all the questions, just keep them coming. But before we do that, my wife and I just came back from a little vacation. When you guys hear this, we'll be getting ready for another vacation.
Isn't that a blessing?
Would be more, work related. But this one here,
for half of it,
the
first part of it, and then the other half is for fun.
Absolutely. So we just came back from a cruise. If you listen to my other podcast, the Short Desk Podcast, which drops every Tuesday, you would have heard me talk about the trip that we took, which was a cruise. As you know, we're big cruisers. And tell them where we went, baby, and what cruise line.
Oh, my goodness. We went on the Celebrity Cruise. Or is it Celebrity Cruise or Celebrity Cruises?
Celebrity Cruise is fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. And I did not know that they're part of Royal Caribbean. Mm-hmm. So that was like, it was good to know because it's just, everything was just phenomenal about it. I had an absolute blast on the Celebrity Cruise. And I'm talking about the food on board was incredible, fresh and delicious. Even though we're not drinkers like that, hey, we kind of got excited. There were lemonade, teas, and all these different flavors it had, and the dessert. And believe it or not, one of our restaurants on the cruise, like inside the cruise, was called The Lawn. And it was so good. The food was made from scratch. And What line? I know the line was Celebrity Cruises, but what ship was this?
Celebrity Reflection.
Yeah, so it actually went out of Fort Lauderdale. So of course, we're so blessed here in Orlando now that we have the Bright Line train, which is so cool. I mean, we took the train all the way to Fort Lauderdale, but this train takes you where? To West Palm. It goes to Boca Raton. It goes to Aventura. It goes to Fort Lauderdale, of course, and of course Miami. So it looks like it's trying to expand now to Tampa, to Port Canaveral. So we took the train there and we got there at a great time, and it was just worth it. And, you know, everything was just great about it. And the cruise was actually very affordable. That's what I liked about it. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little skeptical at first because my honey here told me, hey, this is the price for the cruise. And I was like, man, this is giving me Carnival vibes. You know, you think about Carnival, that's the first thing.
Hey, I like Carnival.
I like Carnival too. No shame on that. But you kind of think about, I don't know. For me, Carnival is just one of those things that are you in the mood for it or not?
Right.
You know, so, but overall, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm very happy. It was just a great cruise.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the best, actually, we ever had.
Yes, we had great entertainment, nice Broadway shows,
yeah.
a great comedian, Kevin Bozeman. He was very funny.
Well, hold on. The director was a Latino.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have never seen a cruise director.
And his name was
a
Luigi.
Latino. And his name, I was going to say his last name, but his name was Luigi. It was so good. And he was from Santo Domingo. Shout out to my Dominican cousins out there. But I've never seen that. So I was like, oh my God, this cruise is very diverse.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was great. And, you know, my main thing is the food, and the food was good.
The food was very fresh, delicious, like I mentioned. I was very impressed.
Went to one specialty restaurant and ate there twice, actually.
Yeah.
Back to back. We didn't try any others because it was just so good. But we had a real good time. It only went to Coco Cay, which is the private island owned by Royal Caribbean.
Forgot about that.
And then we went to Nassau, and we actually got off at Nassau this time.
Yes, and we never really do.
Well, we got off once, but it's like, we don't need to get off. But they changed.
It's so improved now.
Yeah, they have like a shopping pavilion.
I liked it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was nice, and the vibe was cool, even though it was hot as hell.
Yeah.
You know, but overall, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was very fun. It was a quick cruise. We did it from Friday to Monday. Came back.
A quickie, yeah.
We did do, as my wife said, we did do the Bright Line train, and this time we were in the VIP at the premium seats.
Oh yeah, we did the bougie one.
Yeah, because usually we just do it. But listen,
well, let's tell them the real truth. We did it because we got buy one get one half off. BOGO.
If you're in Florida, you gotta catch them on deals.
That's how you do it.
Buy one get ones. They're always running deals, so we did it that way.
Always use a coupon with that train.
And the thing about the premium seats, as they call them, you go in a different waiting area too, and they have foods and hors d'oeuvres there for you.
Them seats were huge.
Yeah, and then the seats were huge on the train, and then also they feed you for free on the train.
Oh my God, yeah! Like the ride from Fort Lauderdale back to Orlando, they like fed us to death.
Yeah, they just kept coming back around
with snacks and more snacks and
sandwiches and stuff.
They came back they came around like what 3-4 times, just about.
About 4. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah,
but really enjoyed it. The train is a nice way to travel.
It's a beautiful experience.
Yeah, and Celebrity Cruise, I'm telling you, they just had a lot of things going on, a lot of good entertainment. More of a mature crowd on that cruise. You did see
not that
kids,
old.
But well, I mean, as far as like kids, it wasn't that many kids on that cruise.
Yeah, I think honest to God, feel like if we saw maybe 15 kids, that was a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, and that is the honest truth. Like 15, I think I counted like 15 kids overall.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, and it was never really overcrowded either. So we had a really good time.
And it was diverse. Like I said, it was just a very nice vibe. Yeah. Everybody from all different kind of ages and, nationalities. And that stood out to me. Even when you went on the cruise, it was like, typically we do see a lot of Filipino, or a lot of Orientals that typically work on the cruise lines. But on this cruise, kind of similar to Disney, we saw a lot of Filipino, but a lot of Indian. We also saw, Latinos, a lot of Latinos. And I really liked that. I was excited about that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So great time. And like we said, we'll talk about our next adventure that we're going to be taking here in a couple of days. But
I'm so excited.
let's go ahead and jump into some of this fan mail. We're going to read the most recent one, and then we'll back into the other ones. And so this one here comes from St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for the love. I love me some St. Augustine.
So we haven't been there in a minute.
I know. We got to go back. Yeah. I love the city, the vibe.
I hope they put a bright line there because that'll be cool.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I would like that.
I love the ghost tours. And, St. Augustine is a vibe. I love it.
All right.
City of love.
The family, they sent two. So the first one says, "Thank you, Iris, for being open and honest with the crappy stuff you dealt with regarding your ex and best friend. Give a voice for others and expose the heartless. I knew you when that situation played out.
Oh, my God.
And you made me realize that that woman was not a friend to have in my life. I left and never looked back. She will always be insecure and miserable. She will always feel unstable in her marriage to him. He will always be a cheater. That's why she now works with him. The tight hold she tries to have him on. Trash loves trash. They are perfect for each other. So glad to hear how God has blessed you. Keep soaring."
Wow.
Boy, a gunshot.
Wow. That's
pow, pow, pow.
Wow.
That's crazy. Okay, and they're not done.
If they were only like here in person, I could hear the mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not done. This person from St. Augustine
Oh, my
said,
goodness. Say more. Tell me.
"Would love if you all feel comfortable to hear the dynamic of Ronnie Keith and Isaac. How has it been being the step parent and entering that area? Was it welcomed by Isaac? Does Isaac know the truth regarding his father?" And I ain't going to say the other person's name, but the father's ex-best friend. "Now that he is an adult, does he have a relationship with his father, or is Ronnie Keith his dad? What was co-parenting like? Was Ronnie Keith involved with the communication with Isaac's father?" So, listener out of St. Augustine,
we got to definitely unpack that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions there, but I just want to first say this really quick to the person who wrote. Thank you for writing that, and thank you for reaching out. Any feedback is great feedback, and any questions there's no wrong or right question to ask here. So thank you so much for reaching out. So let's kind of break that apart a little bit. Let's unpack it. There's a couple of concerns they have there.
Absolutely. And what I will do is I'm going to answer some of these because you're asking me some of these here. And some of these
I could definitely chime in
as well. Well, what I will do is what I would prefer to do is, because these are centered around me and Isaac, I would prefer to have Isaac come on, if you don't mind, St. Augustine listener, and Isaac and I will talk about.
I think that would be the best thing to do from his perspective as well.
Yep. So I will have Isaac on possibly on the next episode, the first half, where he can talk about these questions with me to answer your question, St. Augustine. If please feel free to send in any more between now and then.
Yes.
And any for Iris or myself, or, any more else that you want to have for Isaac. So for episode 19, I'll have Isaac on the first half of that, and we'll discuss those questions together since they're centered around us. So our dynamic. So I will do that. We then have the questions here. Someone from Winter Park said, "Love the show." They sent that on.
Thank you.
And then we
love Winter Park too.
And then there's another question. It's from a different number though. Now here are all the questions here that we have from Winter Park. Let's start off with question number 1. What are some deal breakers before and during marriage? So, you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
You go first.
What are some deal breakers before and during marriage? I would say for me, and I may have talked about this before on the show, and if I'm not mistaken. But the one thing that I'm old school about is the whole change of the last name. Now, I know that the new school women, even though they
bringing
are
up the last name situation,
even though they are my age, I know that there's a new state of mind with some women that, I'm not changing my last name, and that's fine. That's up to you. But I know for me, that would have been a deal breaker because, as I've said before, again, this is my old school thinking. We're getting married. Your father is walking you down the aisle, or whoever is that father figure in your life. They're telling you, okay, I've been taking care of this woman all of her life, being an overseer over her, making sure she's safe. Now this is your job. And she's no longer, in your sense, Rivera.
Yeah.
Now I'm handing her to you to be her protector, her provider, take care of her. And so
he's trusting you.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I feel at that moment, okay, now we're one, we're together. Now you take my last name. But I know in the Latin community, there's the whole hyphenation.
Oh my God. I did not want to deal with that.
I know you didn't, but
I'm sorry. I don't have time for that. So, I just saw how much my brother and my mom struggled with it. And I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that would have been a deal breaker before. If she had said, no, I'm not going to change my last name, then I'd be like, well, you know what? We don't need to do this. That would have been my deal breaker. Now, if there's a deal breaker during marriage, for me, I would have to just say, like, knowingly, openly cheating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's a deal breaker because for me, you hear the excuses. It's like, oh, I got drunk, or oh, I did this. You're never too drunk because if you're sober enough to remember, then you're sober enough to say no. I believe all your hidden inhibitions come out once you get drunk. All the truth comes out, and you do those things. And so, if you cheat on your spouse, it's like saying, "Hey, you're not enough for me." And so that would be a deal breaker for me during. And I know that's cliche; everybody would say that, but for me, that's what would be the deal breaker.
For me as well, hands down. Mm-hmm. I think before marriage, a deal breaker for me would have been, you not being honest about having a kid out there or, being previously married. All those things are very important. And this is why premarital counseling is very important, where you could talk through these things with a dedicated liaison in the middle and express that. Before Keith and I got married, he shared with me, hey, this is what happened to me. I was previously married and this is why I did it. And this is, the outcome of it. And he didn't share that with me right away, but he did share it. I think it was during our counseling or way before our counseling. We spoke about that.
Yeah, I think it was before the counseling.
Like a little, prior, like some weeks prior to that, I think that's very important. I've seen people out there, I can't speak for them, but where there was a child on the low that they didn't know, or there was a situation that happened with their ex, or ladies, a big one, a deal breaker is not being transparent with your spouse. I hate to say this, but if you've been previously pregnant, that's another one. Mm-hmm. I think that's very important for people to be very upfront with. If you lost a child, if you had an abortion, a big one is STDs. Did you have any diseases or anything like that? I think all that stuff is very important and a big deal breaker because, again, when you're married to someone or you're getting ready to marry this person, I feel like all those things are very instrumental to say up front, because in the event that, let's say, you end up in the hospital or get sick, you don't want that to be a shocker, to that particular person. I think those situations are very important to say up front. If you have family issues, oh my goodness, if you have family issues, I mean, there's no perfect family, right? Mm-hmm. I think that may be a deal breaker for some, big time. Everybody has their own, skeletons in the closet or certain situations with family members. I think that goes both ways during a marriage and, before a marriage, big deal breakers. But definitely cheating is one of them. But I think before you get married, I think you have to basically be very transparent. Another deal breaker. Are you in debt? When you get married, that person inherits your debt as well. That's also a big deal breaker. And, for some.
Would it be a deal breaker for you, though? This question's so for you.
Well, for me, those instances
you didn't leave
would
me.
be.
I was in debt.
No. Well, for some maybe, but for me, it was being fully transparent of what happened in the past to you or being married. To me, yes, I'm answering that question, but I'm just putting out there, this is what I know that will be deal breakers as well for me and other people. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question. If someone asks you to marry them and you say no, is the relationship over or do you wait until you are ready?
That's a good question. So I have to take that question way back. And I'm going to bring it old school when I was in the relationship when I was with Isaac's father. That was me. I would say, hey, why can't we get married? Why can you marry me? And he's like, well, I have to feel like I have to marry the person. You're not there. You're not a marriage material. I remember I would hear that, and I heard that in counseling. And I decided, like a retard, should I say dummy? Like a dummy, I decided to stay with that person for many years, knowing that for that moment, I thought I was okay to be with them, but I was not good enough to have that married title.
What made you want to marry him? Was it because you had a child together? Or did you really just feel like this would be perfect? Because the reason why I asked that is because just with the conversations that we've had.
Yes.
And the description of everything, it wasn't a relationship that probably should have been at that point. And it didn't seem like you were happy as much. So what made you, say to him, why can't we get married at that moment?
I believe it was, or I knew, I'm not going to say I believe, when I had Isaac. Hey, why don't we just get married? And this is going to be a fairy tale thing. You're living this fairy tale thing. You think you're in love. You think the baby's going to solve everything, right? That's what the baby's going to bring it all together. That's what everybody would say. But yes, I wanted to marry. But he, was very transparent and said, hey, I don't want to marry you. You're not marriage material to my face.
So you weren't marriage material. But
correct.
You were dating material, and so you stayed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So that is a very good question, and yes, that happened to me.
Okay.
How about you? How would you handle that? If you would have asked me, like, "Hey, I want to marry," I said, "Oh, I'm not ready for that yet."
Man, it would depend. So for me, it depends on the length of time that we've been together.
Yeah.
So if I ask you within a year's time, hey, I want to marry you, and you told me I'm not ready for that, I can't get upset at that. We haven't really gotten to know each other.
Good point.
We've just only been together a little bit of time. Now, we've been together 3-4 years, we're much more mature. And I ask you for your hand in marriage because at that point, I'm thinking everything's gravy. You know what I mean? And you tell me no. I'm going to say, well, why not? And so then it depends on what your explanation is. And, if you say, well, I'm wanting to marry you because I'm just not ready. I don't know if I want to make that type of commitment, then I'll be like, oh, well, peace out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm at that point now where, hey, I don't want to play house anymore.
Right.
I want to make this
You're
thing.
ready for that next step. Yeah.
So it just, for me, it would depend on where we were. I'm not expecting you. I wouldn't even ask, but let's just say I got stupid and I did ask a year or a year and a half into our relationship. I can't get upset if you say no. And you tell me no because of this, and this.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
you tell me no because, hey, there may be a better option out there for me and I haven't met it yet and we're just dating, so I'm not really sure, or that's not something I want down the road. And then that is a cause for conversation for you and I to have, to go, okay,
Right.
here's my goals. This is what I want out of this. You're not there, nor are you looking for that. So then we don't need to be together. So
Right.
that's what I would be with
Yeah.
that. Next question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good question. We may be able to get through all of these today.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Next question. Who said I love you first?
I did. I sure did. I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, keep me honest. I think it was when we had our first date, and that was the Cheesecake Factory that we went.
Our very first date, talking about the very
Or
beginning?
actually one of the beginning dates.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I getting that?
Talking about before we had our little break?
Yeah, before we had a little break. Yes, right?
Uh-huh.
I was the one who said it.
You did.
And I said it in my sleep. Or I was like kind of like half asleep and I was like, I love you.
Yeah. It was you. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I just felt it in the moment. But when I really, really knew that I was in love with you, like, you're just saying it, but I was like, I am in love with this man. It's when we went to St. Augustine, when we got back together.
Yeah.
That's why St. Augustine has a very special, dear place in my heart.
Yes.
Because it's when I knew, I was like, oh my God, I am in love with this man. I can't see myself without him.
Yeah.
But I was the one who broke it down first. Yeah.
All right.
When did you feel it? Oh, you mentioned it when I barfed, huh?
Yeah. That was when we got back.
Yeah. So you didn't love me then?
I wouldn't say that.
Oh,
But, it was
okay.
just like,
So
okay, it was still
you didn't
early.
love me till I
Yeah.
embarrass myself pretty much.
Yeah. Because then when we got back, I was still kind of skeptical of, all right, what's going to happen this time? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Next question. This is still from Winter Park. In what way did you feel loved by one another this week or in the past week? In what way did I feel loved by you this week? And that's
Another great question.
it's an easy question. I'm just trying to figure out how many ways can I say this. So, I feel loved when this week for work has been very, I wouldn't say stressful,
Yeah.
but it's been very tense for me at work this week, right? I have
I
a
understand.
load and tons of meetings to attend and so many different things that I have to do on my level that it could be very taxing, and then also being over so many people and responsibility, it can be taxing too. So it's been kind of a tense week at work, and you've heard some of the conversations that I've had.
Yeah.
And the way that I felt loved, and this may seem like a little thing to some people, but this is a big thing for me. You consistently, not that you don't do it, because you do it, but your day is kind of packed too.
Yeah.
It is packed. So it's not as often as you would want. But because of how tense you knew it was for me, you really doubled up on checking in with me, coming over, rubbing my head, sitting down to talk to me. You just really took that care. and you've had a very tense couple of weeks yourself because of what's been going on with your job.
Yeah.
But you took the time and the moment to come to me and just, make sure that I'm okay. You know what I mean? And make me feel really secure and I guess loved. You know what I mean? And again, not to say that you don't ever do that. You do, but it was just it's not often for me. It's not often for me to show signs that I'm our dogs are outside of the office.
They're so needy.
Yeah,
they're trying to break into the door.
It's not
often
so that I show that I'm, had a tense week, but you heard it in my tone and everything. And so you just were doting on me. And I just really, really appreciated that. And I felt extremely loved in that moment. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'll say. I'm not even going to get into the vacation because that's easy. But in that moment, in these last couple of days, you've done that, and it's just been a very. And I mean, we're recording on a Thursday night. You guys are here this Friday or whenever you hear it, but it releases on Friday. From Tuesday when I went back to work to today, it has been very, very intense and long, where I haven't had a moment to really breathe, and so you have just been that for me, as you always are, but just especially this week. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad that makes you feel better. And I feel the same way too. And for me, what I always say to myself is man, I love this man. I was feeling a little down, because of work. Work gets the best of us. But I was also kind of feeling a little sick. For those of you guys that know me, I don't have the best stomach, so I do go through some flare-ups there. With my belly, I have a very, very sore stomach. And
in full transparency, she's going through it right now. And I'm just going to be transparent for a moment. She's going through it right now where I mouth to her, do we need to stop? But she wants to power through and record this.
No, I'm okay. I'm serious.
I know you are. That's what I know. But I looked at you and I'm like, yeah.
No, I took the microphone away so that I could catch my breath.
I know, because you want to power through this, but
no, I'm just saying, fine. No, but for me, it's when I have those moments that you just kind of, you break down because your job is not, the greatest there. You're going through a lot and you're sick. And I just love how you take care of me in that essence, like last week, and making sure to eat light foods and, to be careful. You just really take care of me when I'm going through these flare-ups, and I appreciate that because you don't have to sit there and really worry about me when it comes to that. You really take care of me, watch what I eat, and you just basically try to make the best of it. And I remember last week I had a very bad, intense week, and you were like, let's go for a car ride. I know that makes you really happy. You would do little things like that. You did that twice last week. And I was like, man, I'm just blessed. Thank you so much. And I remember telling you, thank you, baby. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Even if it is to grab a quick soup or something, which is one of my favorite things. Oh, I love me some Latino soup. Oh, so good. Sopa de pollo. That's what we call it. Mm-hmm. That meant a lot to me, especially on Friday last week. It was pretty intense. Yeah, work. Yeah, and I was not feeling the greatest. And this week I have to cheat and say was the vacation. I just sometimes I'll look at you and just say, wow, I'm just so blessed and so lucky. And having that one-on-one time with you is always priceless because we don't get that a lot. We typically do everything together, errands and go out and stuff like that. But when you actually take a vacation with your loved one and it's just us, it's nice that it's just about us and we make it about us. And I will just look at you and say, wow, I love you more and more every day. So that's how I fell in love with you more and more this week.
Oh, I appreciate that. You sure it wasn't you popping the bump on the back of my head?
No, it was not.
Took you 3 days to pop. That's what you did. Oh, I had a hair bump on the back of my head from getting a haircut, and she had been determined for like the last week or so to get.
Why you gotta go there?
And I mean, we were at the train station, 5:00 in the morning. She's trying to pop it.
But don't you feel better now?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's what wifeys are here for.
That's right. We're gonna do one more question, and then we'll save the rest
let's
for
do
next
two
week.
more.
One more. We'll save the rest for next week.
Oh, I like these.
I know, I do too. We'll have 2 left for next week, and whoever, well, not next week, the week after, and whoever wants to come in and give us any more that'll go
okay.
with that, okay? The last one that we're going to read today, and it's from Winter Park again, and it says, should couples live together before marriage? So, I'll go first on this one.
I wanted to go first,
Oh,
but
well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, please do so. You were first.
So, when you hear that, and of course, especially the way that I was raised, like, no shacking up. Don't be shacking up, and
Same here.
That's not what you're supposed to do biblically or anything. It's like, don't shack up. But, and now as a parent, I wouldn't want my son, living with no woman, but, he's also an adult as well. But the thing is this, I feel like it's man, this is going to sound horrible saying it this way, but I feel like it's a trial run because,
it's the truth. I'm going to have to respectfully agree with that.
Yeah, because it's like, I can't sit here and, now we're going to get married, right? And this is going to be the first time we're living in the house. And then boom, you don't like the way that I do this. I don't like the way you do this. And that just starts argument after argument after argument. The
dynamic is off.
Yeah, because we're only seeing each other for a little bit if we're not living together. Whereas if we're living together, we know. And if there are any discrepancies or something, we can work on that together, and we get accustomed to each other's ways. Like I said before, I think I said this on the last episode, one of the big changes that I had to make, and now my whole family has adapted to this, is around Christmas time. Christmas time was, Christmas Day. We got together, open gifts, cooked, all that other stuff.
No more.
But in the Latin community, they do Christmas Eve.
Say it. That's not how we say it.
What is it?
Noche buena.
Noche bueno.
Buena.
Buena. We do that. And we have big dinners Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day is more of a relaxation. And so that
isn't that the best feeling though?
Really, well, why you think my family is now? They want to do that now. You know what I mean?
It's the best thing ever for you to like eat leftovers.
Yeah, but before I was like, what the world is this? I don't want to do this.
Oh man, I know we talked about that on the last episode. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there, but it's the best feeling.
Yeah, it really is, because you get a chance to enjoy, relax the day after. Like Christmas Eve, you're having people over cooking, and then Christmas Day you can just relax.
Boom, you're by yourself with your family
if you want to.
Yeah,
all those things. So that's just one little part of it, but it's just really you understand the dynamic of being together if you live together, in my opinion. And it's like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, because I'm saying I don't want my son to move in with no chick and shack up. But then on the flip side, listen,
I understand.
We went through what we went through because we needed to know, hey, is this going to be for me? You know what I mean? Us living together. I didn't want no surprises, when we said I do. I know how you operate, and as the queen of the house, you run it. So you have to be accustomed to that and know what you're getting. So I think so.
Yeah, I agree to that as well.
You're in agreement with that?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say this, that if you were to ask, what is the generation after baby boomers? Is it us? It's not millennials. It's another one after that. Am I missing a generation there? We just read an article about generations.
Gen Z. No, Gen X.
Are you sure?
Gen X at the baby boomers, yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a little... Okay, let me just put this out there. Let me just break it down. I think that if you were to ask this question for a baby boomer era type of person or Gen X, oh my God, I hope I'm referring to that particular age range correctly, but I think they would say differently. But for me, it is crucial. And again, it's your opinion. It is very important for you to live with that person before you say those I do or the words I do, because you just want to make sure that you're going to be okay living or spending the rest of your life with this person, making sure that this works out. To me, it was very important for one, because even though, yes, my house is pretty clean, you could come in here and I have to admit this, I'm going to be fully transparent with you all, but I'm a messy person. I don't make my bed every day. My husband and I are just naturally messy people. And those that know us very closely could sit there and say, oh yeah, they're messy. Our desks are always messy. Our room is not always the par. Our closet is not organized by, what is it? Some people do it by color. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my sister-in-law. Her closet is immaculate. It's always by color, and the shoes are by color. Everything is like perfect. No, I don't live like that. I basically go with the flow and do our thing. And if I come from work and take off my clothes, I will leave it in the couch. I don't know till how long. Mm-hmm. I don't do my laundry right away. It's just
put it up right away.
Put it up right away. I hate doing laundry.
You'll do laundry like 3-4 days in a row, but you ain't gonna put it up for about another week or so.
Correct. Yeah. But you are okay with that. And
you're not a dirty woman.
I am not. We are not. And I want to clarify, we're not dirty people. Yeah, our kitchen is not the greatest. Our kitchen is always a mess. Sometimes when we have close family members like my mom, my dad, and my mama, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, hey, can I come over? I'm like, the house is a little messy right now. Oh, come on. We're used to that with you guys. Come on. So yes, we are extremely messy people, if you say that. But again, I'm not trying to get off on a tangent, but let's say if I would have married Keith and he would have liked that. There is situations like that where couples are like, oh my God, I can't deal with this craziness. I have to have my kitchen a certain way. I have to have my pantry a certain way. And I'm just grateful to have found somebody that, it takes two to tango. And that's absolutely correct. He's just as messy as me. Mm-hmm. And shout out to those out there that are very immaculate. Like my mom and I are night and day. The lady taught my brother and myself, hey, make your bed when you get out of the bed. And her house is always immaculate and perfect. And I just came out the complete opposite. And that's like my brother as well. We're just extremely messy people.
Yeah, but when you get ready, when you done got through your work week and you ready to start cleaning, I'm getting out the house because
for those of you that know me, we knew some family members. I could get a little bit out of hand when I do clean because I put on my headphones, I'm listening to an audiobook, and I just get down to it and just clean. And I get frustrated because I find dirty things. And it's like, oh, I hate cleaning this bathroom and living with two men, and I get so angry at that. So I feel sorry for Isaac. He gets the beating. We have this thing in our house called deep clean weekend. That's what we call it. And I tell him, oh, you're going to have a relationship with Clorox and Lysol this week. So prepare yourself. And, but just situations like that, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent here and take you guys through a rabbit hole, but it is crucially important. That's just my opinion. For me, it was more important to make sure that Keith accepted my lifestyle, the way I do things. I don't cook every day, guys. I don't. Was he going to be okay with that? Is your significant other going to be okay with that? I work too. He works too. I would love to cook every day. I don't do my laundry every day, but it's just, you have to find that right match to ensure that you will be okay living with this person and spending the rest of your life with them. That's all I got to say about that.
Mm-hmm. And as you know, I'm the one that loves to cook, so
whatever. I do love to cook too, but I'm just like, I just don't feel like it. Sometimes I'm like,
So that I get in the kitchen and go down, and then you be like, "Well, I can cook tomorrow." I'll be like, "No, remember, you're tired.
I
you don't
do
wanna
that.
cook
Yeah,
tomorrow. I can cook.
I feel guilty. It's like, man, I need to cook for my family, but
I can cook tomorrow because my food be so good. You know what I'm saying? And then you be like, "Oh no, you're not gonna make this better than me." Whatever." But yeah. You have to make sure that you're okay with that, and I think I talked about it too earlier episodes where you wanted to kind of dote on me, and I took it like I'm not your child. I'm a man.
Yeah, that was important. Like for the Latin community, or you're raised like that, you have to cater to your man and do this. And
like, bro,
you were like, bro, I could do this. I don't need for you to.
My mama taught me how to do everything. So
yeah, I remember I had asked you a question too. Are you in the brownie stage? And you kind of looked at me like, how dare you?
Yeah.
You offended me. Yeah. I was like, are you in the brownie stage when you cook? When we first started dating.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, especially my hubby, I think you were just naturally messy people. Imagine if it would have been vice versa, me, a clean freak, or an organizer. What do you call those people that are?
Well, organizers. So
no. It's a term for it. I forget what they're called.
A neat freak, I call it.
No, it's a term. I got to find it. It's like in the tip of my tongue. But, neat freaks, yeah.
Yeah, so and like I said, if I had... because of the way I was raised, if I thought you were dirty or nasty, first of all, I wouldn't eat at your house. You know how particular I am about that.
Oh, yeah.
And, if you were a dirty person, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. But again, you're not dirty or filthy or anything. And please, you sat up here and told a story. You ain't about to sit there and throw your clothes on the couch because you fuss at me if I lay a shirt right there at the little stair thing.
We're talking about the couch in the room upstairs.
In our bedroom. Well,
I have no time to sit there and put the clothes back
that's your
up.
room. That's different.
I can't. I'm sorry, guys. My shoes are everywhere. And I think I worked so hard to have this deep clean house, and then in a matter of days it just goes back to kind of...
Because it's too doggone big. That's why. For 3 people, it's too big.
Oh, it's not that big. This house is
okay. Right.
Cute, simple house.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tell that to somebody else. Anyways.
But again, I'm not trying to sit there and say that we're talking about us being very messy people, but there's other circumstances to that. Are you going to be okay sleeping with them? Sex, that's also very important.
Yeah.
Like... Come on now, you gotta try it. You gotta try it before you marry it. That's just what I'm trying to say. And again, a lot of people might disagree with this. I am a millennial, yes, and I am a firm believer you gotta try it before you do it.
You gotta take that thing out for a test.
And you gotta see what you're working with. Right. Hello.
That's right.
Are they gonna be okay seeing you on your bad days? I mean, treating you when they're sick, that's very important too. All those little things. Are they people that cook? Listen, I've seen situations where they get into a marriage and the person doesn't know how to cook at all. Are they okay with that? Is that a problem? So just little things like that. Just, you gotta definitely, I suggest that you gotta live with that person for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we will end it there. Those have been great questions.
I love them. Please keep them coming.
Keep them coming. And St. Augustine and any other of you that are listening, again, just hit that link in the podcast description, text Ronnie Keith, and that will come to us for it.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to break the St. Augustine question apart. Again, thank you so much for saying what you did and putting that out there. And I am looking forward to having our son on the show and voicing his concerns, his opinions, and everything on that. That question is more directed towards Keith and their dynamic, which, believe it or not, it is an awesome relationship. I'm just blessed that my son has such a wonderful, just such a great dad all the way around. But we definitely want to break that question apart. But please, audience, please keep those questions coming. There's no wrong or right ones, and we love them all.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Like I said, Winter Park, we'll get to your last two on the
next
Thank you, Winter
episode.
Park. And whoever else, send them in, we'll talk. And we thank you guys for listening. And this has been Conversations
with Ronnie Keith
and Edie
and Iris.